Hey guys, so some of you may know on the way to DriftCon we cracked one of the fenders on the freeway or somehow on the way down there. We don't really know, but we got the fender off. I'm going to show you how to repair that. I've never really done carbon fiber repair. I've done some fiberglass. It's virtually the same thing, so we're going to try our hand at it. Since this is already broken, not really broken that bad, but it's already busted. You can't really mess it up any more than it already is. So we're going to try to fix it and show you what we're working with. I've already taped it off, but it potato chipped off. And if you actually look, there's gel coat on the side of this thing. Come on, focus. It's not thick at all. And where it actually broke, it is still like right here. It's still shiny and smooth, like it wasn't roughed up before the next coat was put on or something. So yeah, we got to do this whole repair. It's all taped off, ready. Throw one more layer on it just to be sure. We're going to start with 220 and start sanding. Keep in mind, these areas that are flaked off, be very careful not to touch that carbon, because if you mess up that weave, it is going to show in your final product. So be very careful, be diligent, and take your time. I'm going to start off some 220 and a sanding block. We're going to be very careful. I'm going to tape off a little bit more first, but we're going to start sanding and start to get rid of all that there. So to me, this here is all completely delaminated, so I'm going to try to chip that piece off, because it's not going to help our situation here, what we're trying to do. If we don't, it's going to have an air pocket and a void, and you'll probably see it because you can already see that void. There's air underneath there, so we got to get that whole chunk off and start our repair with a good gel coat. So I'm just going to take the pick tool. I'm going to be very, very careful not to get our... Never mind. We'll just sand that out. It'll come out. So this is going to take some time. I'll show you when we're done. Alright, so I'm back onto the carbon fix here, Hector. So we've taken, I think it was 180, and then, yeah, it was 180. I knocked it down. You're being very careful not to disturb the carbon. You want to get as many little air pocket things you can get out of here. It still needs more cleaning. As you can see here, you can see the fractures. So I'm going to put a little bit of alcohol on a rag here. Show you what this thing's going to... Isopropyl alcohol to clean it. And if you look, we're going to have a good fix on this. You know, it's wet. It's kind of hard to see those cracks. So I'm going to hit it once more with some 220, and then I'm going to set this up so we can start putting our gel coat on. And then we're going to have to obviously block sand this, get it back level with this stuff, so we have it taped off back here to have a little bit more buildup, and so we don't get too much. So after I get that sanded at 220, I'm probably going to set the fender up like this so it can run down and drip off and not get anywhere else on the fender. So once I do that, I'll show you what we've done. Alright, the product I'm going to be trying to fix this clear coat, or not the clear coat, the gel coat, is I was recommended this by a carbon fiber supply place up here next to me by the airport. So we're going to use this and see how it comes out. I got it propped up here. Use something you don't care if the stuff's going to drip in and ruin, because it is going to get everywhere and drip. So we're going to apply our first coat after we mix it up. Alright, see now you can tell I have a thick layer of gel coat on here, or epoxy. We're going to let that do its thing, let it get hardened, and then we're going to start block sanding it and see what it comes out to. And then buff and polish the whole fender, and it should probably be fixed. I mean, it's really hard to tell now, but I can hardly even see those cracks. Alright guys, so that carbon car that we've been building, I showed it had that gel coat that was pretty thin, and either the tire hit, something hit, and we potato chipped it. Well, it took me a couple times to get the right mixture, but I think I finally got it down to where it's actually adhering to whatever they used. So there's a little bit of a color difference right now because it's I'm at 600 grit right now, so if you can see in the lighting that little bit of difference, that's the difference in the material. There you go, now you can see it. So I'm at 600 right now. I'm going to keep polishing this up and then show you the final product. And I don't think you'll be able to see this difference in color once it's actually polished all the way, because you have to be kind of really at the right angle to see it. So I'm going to hit it with, I'm at 600 right now, I'm going to hit it with some 1200, then 3000, 5000, and then I'm going to buff the whole fender. And while you're doing this and you're working out, you want to keep working, you're working this area. Every time you step up your grit, you want to make sure you cover over. So even though my repair was only right here, I'm actually gonna be, sanding pretty much with everything to blend all this back in and polishing the whole fender. But obviously none of this is gonna have to be hit with any 3000 grit or 5000 grit before it be polished. You just got to get this here, did 5000, but you have to fade that in so you don't have any. I'm sure you'll see it once you actually start polishing if you didn't have it faded in correctly. I'm not a professional at that, so don't quote me. But this is my first time doing this repair, and so far I'm pleased with it because there was huge cracks and that was all busted out, and it no longer is. And there again in the lighting you can see the difference in material. So let's see how it turns out. Alright, so right now I'm at 1000 grit and we're using a sanding block. You want to use a lot of water and keep it lubricated at all times to come with a better finish. And like I said, we started here, we've had to work out and work out and work out. So when we blend, we're trying to blend everything once we go to polishing. So I'm at 1000, so right now I'm working from about here to here. 3000 we're going to do here to here. 5000 we'll probably do corner to corner, and then we're going to polish. Alright, now that's 1000 grit. We're going to hit 1200. Now you can still see that discoloration there. Difference in material, but they bonded to each other and they're not flaking apart, and that was the main thing. So now we can bump it up again and keep working this to get it to a shine. Alright, so now I've hit it with 3000. You can see it's shiny to dull, and you still see our spot there, but we're not going to worry about that right now because it's never going to match. So now let's hit it with some 5000.
A few moments later.
Alright, as you can tell, you messed around with that epoxy, you can still see, if you hold it in the right light, you can see it. And we went to have it perfect, and as soon as we went to polish it, it would start pulling the edges up. So we've now got another product that Fiberglass Supply has actually sponsored us and given us this product here. It's a duratec surfacing technologies, clear top coat and catalyst, about $80 worth of stuff. So we're going to sand this down and redo this one more time, and Mallory's already happy with that, which I wasn't. You can see it bad right there. We're going to Do it one more time. The way it turned out before, I was pretty happy with, besides it'd be perfect looking when we got up to 3,000 grit, and then we go to polish it, and then the heat would literally, it just couldn't withstand the heat to polish and get the bright shine over here. You know, this here was even sanded all the way out to here, and you know, polish is all brought back. Marking it up with my fingers and shit, but so we got that new material, so scuffed it up. I'm gonna try to do a coat here, so for every 100 cc's of this, you're gonna use 2 cc's of this, or however your measurements are. It's 2% of the hardener to this stuff. It's a polyester clear top coat. It should be pretty close to what this is here. So let's do round 3. I've already sanded it. Gotta get stuff to mix it up. So I gotta go around and try to find a place, because I'm sure they have it there, but they're closed now. So see what I can do. Alright, so when I get back, I'll show you how to mix that stuff up and what we're gonna do to apply it. Alright, so we're getting ready to pour this stuff, and you always want to take precautions. It's flammable, so we're going to stir it with our handy dandy flare stir sticks here. So we're just doing a small batch, 50 milliliters. So this catalyst that's required, all the stuff we're using that is top secret, is we got to add 2%. So it's going to be, since we did 50 milliliters of resin, we are going to use 1 milliliter of the catalyst, and then we're going to mix this stuff up. And I don't know how quick this shit flashes, so we're probably going to want to get it right on to the thing. So I got to get set up so we can get the bubbles out of it, which is first going to use a heat gun, which you're going to see here in a minute. Yeah, mix it with the screwdriver. Make sure it's clean though.
Professional screwdriver.
That's professionalism at its finest. I mean, you can use a stick. I mean, as long as it's clean and you're not going to get anything in your thing. I suggest being a well-ventilated area. The shop is pretty big, but this is only a small 50 milliliter batch, and shit stinks. So, lit on and kind of just let it go over the edge. Spray this product, which would probably allow for no air bubbles, but it's not that big of a fix to, I think, spray. So we'll come back to this once this dries and assess what we're gonna do next. Alright, so I came back in this morning after good 12 hours of cure time, and I forgot to record, but it's time to, I already blocked it down. We're gonna add a second coat, and I can already tell this is probably the same shit that Cybon's using, because after feathering it in just the first one, I still need another coat because I got a low spot, but you can't, that matches, so we're not going to have a color difference. And right now, no crack, no blowout, all the way fucking gone. So add another coat of this stuff and block sander more, polisher, and hopefully by the end of the day, we'll have a done fender that looks like it was never touched or broke. Alright, I've now let this cure for, I did it this morning, so it's probably been a good 6 hours. The other one I let sit overnight. It feels like it could be ready to be sanded by hand and fingernail. So we're going to try to see what happens when we hit it with a little wet sand here. See if she's ready to be wet sanded. I'm going to let this sit again overnight just to make sure, you know, because I'm assuming, you know, anything else, it doesn't look like it's pulling up, and it's sanding real nicely. So what we'll do is let this set overnight, make sure all the water, you know, if it needs to set up anymore, it can set up. But one thing I do want to point out, since I switched to this new material, or this new product, You can see there's a little bit of a difference, but if the last couple times we've done it, there's been a huge color difference. And you know, damn, I'm pretty much almost blocked out. For there's a little bit right there to do, a little there and a little there, and we can start upping our grit. I'm on a 320 right now, just to feather it in, wet sanding, and then we're gonna jump up to I think 500, 600, 1,000, 1,200, 3,000, and then 5,000, and then go to a final polish. So I'm gonna work on this a little bit more, make sure we're all feathered out, and see what we can come up with. Alright guys, while the camera was charging, I came by and hit this with 1200, which, yeah, we're not. Hit it with 1200. Looked like I was down to carbon right there, but I'm not. Hit it with 1200, obviously it's going to be dull. So next we're going to hit it with a 3000. But as you can see, you can't really, you can see where we fixed it, but not by much.